I'd say women in this space tend to take the corner office a lot. You don't project yourself. You're not highlighting your achievements and all of that, which is something that is very limiting, right? Sometimes all we need to do is just pitch ourselves and just go after what we want, right? Which is something that a lot of women, not just in the communication space or in the media space do, but generally we believe that, oh, men have these more opportunities than we do or access more than we do. But sometimes we just need to be more proactive, more confident in projecting ourselves and going after the things that we want.
Imagine a world where we have gender equality in and through media. That is our mission at African Women in Media. I'm Dr. Yemisi Akimbobola, and this is Her Media Diary, a podcast that captures the lived experiences of African women working in media industries. In this episode, I'm joined by Gloria Edukere, a talented writer, advocacy specialist, and corporate communications expert from Nigeria. Gloria found her passion for writing at a young age, often retreating under the dining table, as she describes it, to craft her stories. This early love for writing laid the foundation for a successful career in corporate communication. She discusses her career path, sharing how she transitioned from writing poetry to becoming a sought-after content writer and communications specialist. She emphasizes the importance of networking and seizing opportunities as they come. Throughout this series, we'll be in conversation with African women who champion gender equality and ensure adequate representation of women in the corporate communication sector. By inviting these voices into the conversation, we hope to provide solutions to break down barriers faced by African women in media industries. Okay, so Gloria, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Have you listened to other episodes of the podcast?
Oh yes, I have, and I love some.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
as you know, we always start by getting to know the person who we're talking to.
Okay.
And oftentimes when I ask that question, everybody always reverts to talking about their kind of career and accomplishments.
Mhm.
But I want to know your earliest memories. Like, I want to really know who Gloria is. So tell me about Gloria. Did you grow up in Lagos? Because I know you're currently in Lagos.
No, I didn't grow up in Lagos. I grew up in Akwa Ibom State, in Uyo precisely.
Okay.
And my earliest contact with communications generally, I'd say that I started writing when I was 8. And I used to write under our dining table at home, right? I'll just knock in there and and just start writing. I'd write stories, I'd write different things that just piqued my interest. And I really enjoyed it for the most part. And I
Yeah.
kept saying, oh, I want to grow up being a writer. I just want to be a writer. And yeah.
What inspired you like that? And I'm really curious about that under the dining table situation. So, so what inspired you?
It felt like a safe space where I knew that, oh, my siblings are not going to find me here. This is a me time. And me time had to be in a place where nobody would find me to send me on errands. I didn't want to do chores. I just wanted to write and read.
And were you many? How many siblings do you have?
Oh, I have 8 other siblings. Yeah, so actually many.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're one of 9. Which one are you?
I'm the last.
Which number?
I'm number 9, yeah.
You're the last born. Okay. So you're the one
Yes.
that's going to be sent around by everybody.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. What was it like growing up with a family of 9?
It was great. It was great. So growing up in a large family just ensured that I had a lot of people around me, and it just made me know that, okay, there's so much more to community. You have support system, and you just have older siblings you can always run to for something. So it sort of had great impact on me regarding mentorship early on. So I knew that, okay, I had my siblings there. They were always going to support me. I needed something, I would run to them or anything at all. But then it also meant that for the most part, I had to be the one running all the errands and doing the chores, the basic menial things. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was great having family. And I always still believe in the concept of family and yeah, having a lot of people around. So
Yeah, that's quite a few of you. I've heard really great things about Akwa Ibom, about how it's
yeah.
beautiful and all that. So what was it like growing up there?
Okay, growing up there, it was actually really peaceful, and knowing that, oh, it's just a community of a few number of persons. It's not as large as Lagos is, right? You know that, oh, you can actually move from here to there. You can commute to places within 10, 15 20 minutes, you've arrived at your location, which is quite different from Lagos. And yeah, it had this very communal setting where everybody is looking out for each other, and it was great because then it shaped my early years, or sort of my formative years, knowing that, I could do more than this. I can be better than this. I can go out there, dream big, and sort of bring changes and transformations all the way home, right? And seeing Akwa Ibom where it is today, it's actually changed a lot. There's been a lot of transformations, developments going on there, and a couple of other Akwa Ibomites who are not just in Lagos or in Nigeria, across Africa and across the globe as well. They're doing really amazing and remarkable things. So it's good to sort of tie that home as well. Yeah.
Okay, okay, brilliant. So you had this passion for writing, and you found your safe space underneath the dining table, right? In your family of nine. How did you take your passion for writing from that dining table, right, to a career that you're in now?
So it's been a lot of ebbs and flows, right? It's been a lot of growth. It's been a lot of changes, reiterations here and there. It's been a lot of me applying myself and daring myself into looking out for opportunities and just not limiting myself, right? Even when these opportunities surface, right? So I moved from there to realizing that I had to build a network, I had to build a support system. I've had this at home, but then externally, I need to meet with other people who get to know about me, get to know about my work, and all of that. So I started with Poetry Hangout, right? I used to write poems. Then I'd definitely go for hangout, and I started writing articles for people as well. I used to get paid as early as in secondary school and in university. So I used to get paid writing articles for people, and it was quite impressive. I thought that, okay, I could actually make money from this thing. I could turn it into, that moment where they're like, oh, turn your passion into a career, right? From passion to profit. And I saw the opportunities there, and I decided that, what, I think I can actually do this. So from there, writing more articles, writing more poetry, script writing as well. I got to a tech company one day, and I went there for a poetry hangout, and the founder of the company reached out and was like, oh, we need a content writer. Do you think that this is something that you can do? And it sounded strange to me at first, because I was like, what is content writing? I had no clue. I had no idea what it
Yeah.
was. But then I got the opportunity, and I just started, right? I just started because one thing I knew how to do was just go after all the opportunities I needed, right? I saw in front of me. So I did that, applied, and 6 months down the line, I was doing really good. I got a promotion into a communications role, a support communications lead role. And then I got to explore that, okay, there's more besides just writing. You can do more corporate writing, you can do more technical writing. There's also copywriting. I got exposed to the other aspects of writing just away from content writing, right? And from there, I just found myself applying for other opportunities that came with communications, with copywriting, with marketing as well. And yeah, so far it's been 6 years doing it as a corporate and a full-time job, and it's really been amazing.
So I understand the career journey and kind
Mhm.
of the opportunity meets readiness that you
Yes.
kind of story as well. And that's really important because it's something that you took from being an hobby to something that you practice and practice. So when the opportunity came, you were ready to take up that opportunity, even if you had to go do some Googling to understand what content writing is. But you were ready for it.
Yeah.
In those 6 years that you've been doing this work, what has been your personal experience as a woman in this space? What has it been like for you?
So, two things I'd say: women in this space, number one, tend to take the corner office a lot. You don't project yourself, you're not highlighting your achievements and all of that, which is something that is very limiting, right? Sometimes all we need to do is just pitch ourselves and just go after what we want, right? Which is something that a lot of women, not just in the communication space or in the media space, do, but generally we believe that, oh, men have these more opportunities than we do, or access more than we do. But sometimes we just need to be more proactive, more confident in projecting ourselves, and going after the things that we want, right? So that is number one. one. A second
Mm.
thing would be, how equipped are you, right? Even when the opportunities come, how ready are you for the opportunities that come? Are you putting yourself in positions where you're learning the things that you need to learn, meeting the people that you need to meet, getting ready for these opportunities to present themselves, and then so that when it eventually does, you're just ready to take the reins of it, and just dive in, right? So yeah, I just believe that those are the two things that limits women a lot, projecting themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's always multiple aspects to this idea of
Mm-hmm,
kind of women projecting themselves. There's the aspect of, like you said, women projecting themselves, but there's also the aspect of the environment enabling you to do that,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Has it always been a equal, fair, balanced experience for you? Has it always been a case of it's just you not projecting your voice, or has it been a case of
Yeah.
actually there's certain things in the environment that's not allowed you to do that?
Yeah. So personally, I know that there's been instances where I've had to deal with, oh, there are men who are making attempts at you, right? And all of that. And you have to
Mm,
deal with that whole workplace toxic culture as well. There's that. There's
mm,
also the part where you know that, oh, for you to actually get this, you need to play the politics of the game as well, and just be more visible, project your, put yourself out there, collaborate and connect with the right people who are in the leadership or management roles, right? There's also
mm,
that part as well. There's also the part where it's like, oh, as a woman, what are you bringing to the table? There's been that question a lot of times as
mm.
well. What are you bringing to the table? The only thing that you know how to do is maybe to talk and also to write, and nothing else. You don't know how to execute. You just have strategy, because as women we plan a lot. So it's like, oh, you just have the strategy aspect of it. You don't have the execution strength, right, to contribute uniquely to the team. So you, but in all of this, I believe that if we are able to just position ourselves, know that okay, this is the boundary, and that I know that I'm not willing to cross. I have my integrity intact. These are the things that I want to do. This is who I want to be known for. At the end of the day, you definitely have support system. You definitely have mentors. You definitely be able to push yourself personally, right? Before other people are able to
Mm,
speak for you, right? So if you're not able to put yourself in that place where you can confidently pitch yourself, speak for yourself, have your integrity
mm.
intact, you might not necessarily have the right support to speak for you in rooms where you're not there. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'm interested to know your
Mm-hmm.
perspectives around kind of women in leadership in corporate communication
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of initiatives, whether you've been involved in them around gender equality,
Yeah.
and what that means in those kind of environments.
Okay. Okay. So, for those kind of environments, I would say that being a woman in a leadership position can sometimes be very tricky, because then it's puts you in a position where you're being questioned. Your every move is being questioned. Is this person doing this from a nurturing perspective, which is what women are sometimes assumed to just naturally take on? Are we doing this from a nurturing perspective, or can this person strategically execute the jobs that are, or the tasks that are before her? Is this person going to be sentimental towards it, right? Is this person going to approach these things from a logical perspective as well? And as a result of that, most women shy away from these things because of I don't want to say attacks, maybe for lack of better words, right? Because of the way they are going to be attacked, right? In this sort of positions, right? And then you know that
Hmm.
for an organization, for instance, where you feel like, okay, there are more women here than men, right? There are two ways. An organization where there are more women than men, you get to see that, oh, sometimes the men just take a back seat and they leave the execution, the planning, and strategy for the women to do. And for other organizations where you're like the only woman in a space of five men, it seems like there's so much male ego in the room, and it gets difficult sometimes navigating that situation, right? Because then you know that you just have to rub their egos. You just have to ensure that you're having this camaraderie with the men as well, right? You just have to sometimes not embrace your feminine part, but then be more masculine, embrace your masculine energy as a woman, just so that you're able to have interactions with them, conversations with them, and get to a point where you're properly aligned with the objective of the company at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that It just depends on the situation sometimes and how you're able to navigate it individually.
How have you navigated it? What has been your experience navigating such environments?
Okay, for such environment, I like to observe environments when I go in at first, and I've had to work in both
Mm,
situations as well, where there's been more men in the room than me as a woman, and I've had to, like I mentioned, tap into my masculine energy and just know that okay, these people are, this is what they do after work. You just find yourself being a part of it.
mm,
Either they're going for, they're dreaming, they're going for sporting activities and all, or they're hanging out, they're watching football. At that point you're now bringing a football conversation into the dynamic, right? That's, you know, that these are the things that men definitely like. You just have to get yourself acquainted with some of these things that they definitely talk about. At that point you've been able to build some sort of, I don't, maybe companionship with them, and then they get
mm,
comfortable knowing that okay, this person understands me, this person knows that oh, Arsenal played yesterday, and so I'm still on edge over everything that happened, right? And it's not coming to me with so much work or this or that, right? You're able to balance the emotions. You have to be the emotionally intelligent person for the most part, and then yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it's very tricky.
It sounds like so much additional work to the work you already have to at hand in terms of trying to manage all of these egos, and
Yeah,
frankly I wonder
definitely.
whether it's our job to do that, you know. But you describe yourself as a communications and advocacy strategist.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Mhm. Okay, so communication and advocacy, because for the most part I've been working on advocacy driven projects, right? From youth
Mm,
inclusion to women inclusion, gender inclusion, digital transformation through education, working on projects that are focused on global health initiatives, that are focused on agriculture, that are focused on finances. So across these different sectors, right?
mm,
And mostly working with organizations that are advocacy driven, right? So at that
mm.
point, I've been able to build an expertise around advocacy as well. Yeah.
Okay, so what is advocacy communication?
Okay, so I'd say that advocacy communication sometimes is more development communication focused, right?
Mm,
Is more communication that is targeted at amplifying advocacy initiatives for organizations, right? And these could definitely be sector agnostic sometimes. It's not just tied to one particular niche, but then your ability to be able to use the narratives, certain strategic communication narratives, to be able to advocate for the issues that are peculiar to each organization. That's what advocacy communication is all about.
I had a meeting this morning where I was speaking with an activist in Morocco, right? And what
Mm-hmm.
they were talking about is okay, I have this Instagram page and all this amazing content,
Yeah.
and they're trying to promote talking about femicide. And
Mm-hmm.
the outcomes is that actually what they find is that they're re-engaging people who are already engaged in these topics.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of organizations, including ours,
Yeah.
the challenge is how do you engage those who are not already engaged? How do you move away from your bubble, right?
Yeah.
And particularly how to connect with Gen, I don't know which Gen we're on now. I think it's Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Gen whatever. What is the superpower? What is the thing that allows you to break from, not break, but impact others who are not already engaged, but then
Mm-hmm.
also connecting with these newer generations as well.
Okay. So, one thing that I've been doing, right, not just in the organizations that I work at, but personally, is always trying to identify stakeholder demographics, right? Who are the people
Mm,
that you're trying to reach out to, right? It's always having a stakeholder map is very important. It helps you streamline your audience, right? You know the stakeholders that you're trying to reach out to, the ones that you currently have, the ones that you're trying to reach out to at every point in line, right? So if you know, okay, you're able to segment them at the end of the day. These are, say maybe the shareholders and all of that, and the
mm,
co-founders and all. You know, okay, you also need to reach out to the government and all of that. Maybe that's another category of your stakeholder group, and then you also know that oh, there are partner institutions that you want to reach out to. You know that oh, there are people in the grassroots that I also want to have access to my communication and the products that we already have. Knowing who these people are will help you know where to find them. right? For
Mm.
instance, those people who are in the grassroots, we worked on a project sometime last year for a company that I worked with, and it was on financial inclusion. And we know that for financial inclusion, we didn't want to target just the everyday people who are living in, for instance, Lagos, Nigeria. It's very urban, it's suburban to an extent. How about the other people who are living in the north, right? Those other women who don't have IDs, right? These are the people that we need to
Mm.
reach out to. Where do we find them? They're in the villages. They have community leaders as well. How do you get information across to them, right? You know definitely that they don't have smartphones. So then you need to think of the radio, right? They listen to the radio. They'll definitely go for community engagement meetups, like, right? Focus group discussions
Mm.
in the village councils, town halls, and all of that. So if you're able to segment your stakeholders, you then know what kind of information they listen to and where they listen to, where they get this information from, right? So at that point, your advocacy strategy is more streamlined, right? You know that you're not already reaching out to people who don't necessarily need this information, right? It's the social media, there's so much going on there. There's so much going on there, but sometimes you miss your target audience, right? So if you're able to segment this, have your stakeholder map, know the demographics of people that are going to be on there, the kind of content that you want each category to have access to, and when, where, the frequency, and all of that, it helps you have a broader strategic communications plan. Yeah.
Hi everyone. So permit me to introduce you to the Kigali Declaration, which is a groundbreaking commitment by African women in media to bring gender equality, representation, and respect into every newsroom across the continent. By signing up, media organizations are pledging to tackle gender biases, amplify women's voices, and create safer spaces, more inclusive workplaces for everyone. Now imagine a media landscape that treats every story with balance and every voice with dignity. By adopting the Kigali Declaration, it's not just a commitment, it's a powerful step towards social change. And that starts with every one of us. And so, if you're ready to be part of this change, visit the official Kigali Declaration website at africanwomeninmedia.com/declaration to learn more and to sign up. And so it's good that you've mentioned financial inclusion and, use
Yeah.
this experience of women. What do you see as emerging opportunities in this space of gender equality and corporate communication, both in terms of people entering the industry? Like, maybe we should start with that. People who are looking to enter the industry,
Mm-hmm.
but and have this kind of feminist gender equality kind of perspective and want to advocate for that in kind of corporate communication environment. What are the kind of advice you would give them?
Okay, so I'm currently working on an ebook regarding people who want to break into communications, right? Especially when it has to do with impact and advocacy communications. Following the steps that I've taken, and a couple of other people that I know who have done similar, I'd say that for the most part, start with identifying what you want, right? What you
Mm.
want, and what you want comes from who you are. Who are you as a person? What are the things that interests you, right? For instance, I might have interest in gender education but not interest in gender and climate, right? So
Mm.
you, if you're able to know, okay, this is who I am, these are the things that I'm passionate about, right, then it gives you a sense of purpose to know, okay, this is the direction I want to go into. These are the sectors that I have interest in: financial inclusion, climate change, right, energy, right, the different opportunities out there, maybe policy as well.
Mm.
You just do your research as well, know what other organizations are there. Yeah, what kind of organizations are there? Do I want to work with an organization that is just starting out, or something that is, a place that already has structure, 10 years of experience, 15 years, and all of that? In what capacity can I go in? Entry level, do I
Mm.
want to start with volunteering opportunities, internships as well? Internships are being underrated now, but I think that they're an amazing way to break into, regardless of how many years of experience you have, right? So even if you have 10 years of experience in a different field, you can always intern for an organization that you're trying to break into, right? A sector that you're trying to break into. You can always do that, right? Because at that point, it just sort of gives you good foundational knowledge on what to do, where to focus, and you're able to eventually niche down.
Mm.
You might not niche down at the start. You can go into, okay, I'm interested in gender work, but then you come to realize that there's gender finance, there's gender climate, there's education, there's women in energy, and all of that. Then
Mm.
decide which one you want to niche down on eventually. Yeah, but just start
Mm.
from identifying these opportunities, as well, knowing who you are, identifying opportunities, tailoring the opportunities to meet your needs, passions, interests, and then from there, just putting yourself out there to apply. Mhm.
Mm. What is your niche, and how did you narrow down to that?
Okay, so my niche for now is on gender inclusion, right? So I do gender inclusion focused project, not just where I work, and I've been doing this for quite some time now. And these projects are not necessarily tied to one particular industry, right? For
Mm.
instance, I've worked on gender inclusion projects for finance, for health, for energy as well. So just it cuts across different sectors, but I know that it's just gender focused, right? I wouldn't necessarily do any sort of communications that is targeted at energy because I don't have the experience there and I don't have the interest in that as well, right? So yeah.
Okay. So now there's a lot of emerging technologies. Everybody's talking
Yeah.
about AI and machine learning and all that. Is that something that you are also working with in your industry, and what do you see as the future of that for corporate communication?
Oh, yes, please. I use AI. I leverage AI a lot to do my work because I think that we're in the technology era and we're
Mm.
slowly advancing to a point where maybe AI might just do virtually everything for us, right?
Mm.
So rather than fight it, why not embrace it? There are talks that, oh, AI is taking our jobs and all of that. But the truth is, if you know how to leverage AI to do your work, then it helps you be more productive and more efficient in doing your work. And then you know that, okay, you have added tools and resources to ensure that your work is more authentic, is more strategic, and all of that, right? So I believe in using AI to actually do amazing work because I use AI a lot to do my work, not just ChatGPT, but from creating slides. There are slides AI as well. There are a lot of AI tools, right? Even for
Mm.
picture generation, video generation, audio generation. There are lots of AI tools out there. And I just believe that
Mm.
all you need to do is know the right way to use it. Don't leverage it 100% because the minute you do,
Mhm.
AI is garbage in, garbage out, right? The
Mm.
minute you use it 100%, at that point you lose your human sense of reasoning, right? You're not able to think in a more nuanced focus. You're not able to think in a more nuanced context anymore at that point. Everything that AI gives you is
Mm.
very technical, it's very logical, but there's no human element in it, right? So then it leaves you to modify it, keep modifying it until you're able to find the human elements that you're looking
Mm.
for. Yeah.
Mm. So I want to drill further down into this use of AI in kind of corporate communication. Give us very specifically, like give us a case study, an example of where you've
Okay.
used it effectively, particularly in terms of a gender advocacy work or whatever. And again, part of the reservations is around the ethics as well, of some of these platforms, and even just knowing how to do it in such a way that, like you said, you're not losing the human touch, and you're not losing your expertise.
Yeah.
You're making it work for you. It's not doing the work for you. If that makes sense, right? I think
Yes.
it's a thin line. So give us a very specific example.
Okay, so specific examples are sometimes I say that AI is first and foremost my virtual assistant because everything that I just tell it to do, it does it for me. But then it leaves me to know that, okay, just like an everyday virtual assistant, you'd be like, oh no, change this, change that, don't put this here, put that there. So then it leaves you to do the iterations and modifications at the end of the day. And then for specific projects that I've worked on or things that I've used it to do. I think I use it to do a lot of things. For instance, most of the images that go on some projects that I've worked on, I generate the images from AI. I just give it a prompt and I'm like, okay, generate an image like this. This is what I need. Generate this image for me. Something focused on this or that or that. I tweak the context to fit
Hmm.
that and it generates images for me, right? And then I'm able to pick, choose, keep modifying until I've gotten an image that is close to what I need, right? This I use this for designs as well. Generate patterns for me, generate backgrounds for me. I use this for design thinking as well. It aids my design
Hmm.
thinking process. And then coming down to writing, sometimes I just give it, okay, so there's this press release that I'm working on. I need context on this and that and that. Maybe write the press release on this and then impute this or impute that. And it does that. At the end of the day, all I need to do is sit back, remodify it, and be sure that everything that is supposed to be captured in the press release itself is being captured. An article, similar thing, right? I use that a lot. And not just because, oh, AI is a tool that everybody can use and, oh, it's free, it's available for all, but because at
Mm,
that point I know that I'm learning. It has exposed me into, oh, thinking deeper than I would naturally think. Maybe something that I saw on a surface level, it provides more depth
mm,
because I'm always asking it to be very detailed. Then it has helped me in streamlining a lot of processes where I'd naturally be like, okay, this is how I want to structure this. But then you give it to AI and it structures it in a very brilliant way. And you're like, oh, I didn't think about this. But yeah, thank you. Sometimes I just tell it thank you and move on, right? Yeah. So I leverage AI to do these things, right? Even as far as creating program plans. Yeah, I might just sit down and I'm like, okay, I have this idea. I want to create a program plan for this. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to go about it. And I just tell AI, maybe give me a draft program plan for something that
mm,
should maybe drive awareness on this issue or the other issue. And it creates something for me. At that point, it has just given me a glimpse of what I'm looking for. And then I can now flesh it out. Right. So I'm not one of those persons who would say don't use AI or this or that. I'm just going to say use AI, leverage it, but then keep modifying it because again, AI is not human, AI is not you. And then don't use it to an extent where it takes away your original sense of reasoning, right? Because at that point,
mm,
you become too addicted to it, right? And you
mm,
don't it doesn't give you time to creatively think as an individual about things that, oh, you'd naturally think about, right? Yeah.
mm. What is design thinking?
So design thinking, this is dicey. Design thinking is, I would say, is the process of just thinking about a design. It's conceptualizing a design, right? What is the outcome that I'm looking forward to for this particular project? And then think about it, the tonality of this, the maybe colors of this as well. What branding elements do I want to infuse into these things to give me the outcome that I'm looking for? That's design thinking. But at that point, you're thinking
Mm,
about it in tonality, you're thinking about it in color palettes, you're thinking about it in branding, voice, you're thinking about it in, yeah, anything. It will just make your
mm,
communication seamless. It will make your marketing easier. So colors, tones, fonts, text, all of that. Yeah.
okay. Do you do a lot of work with social media platforms? And I'm not talking about the LinkedIn, like TikTok and all these ones that are, attractive to to my children's, generation, those kind of stuff. Because so I'll reveal a little bit about my personal life, in this question. A colleague
Yeah.
and I decided to start running. I used to love running, and
Okay.
and running is one of those things that when you stop doing, you kind of have to start it all over again. And
Yeah.
so we started this running and documenting it on TikTok, and
Yeah.
and it's such hard work, but not just the running, but like the TikTok and trying to think, okay, so yeah, we did a video and it had 1,500 views, and I'm thinking that's great because on Instagram you get like 10, that kind of thing. So what 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 are the fundamental, maybe you can talk us through each of these social media
Mhm.
platforms from the
Okay.
perspective of corporate communication, but also from the
Okay.
perspective of kind of self-branding, right? Each of these
Okay. Yeah.
platforms, and how, what are the uniqueness in each one, and how should we be leveraging them, and also understanding the audiences. And I know also that some of these platforms you can monetize it. So TikTok and Instagram you can monetize, right? So perhaps take walk us through each of these ones.
Okay, so I'd start with social media and as a tool generally. So as a tool
Yeah.
generally, I think that social media is really great to amplify the work that anybody does, right? Especially when you want to drive awareness in whatever form, in whatever sector, in whatever product or programs you have right? And identifying the particular social media platform is another important thing, right? Some people,
Mm.
their work is more text focused, is more networking focused. They're looking for a particular thing. They have a particular objective that they want to meet, a particular target that they're looking for, right? And so they'll focus on Twitter, right? For instance, sorry, X now. It's not Twitter anymore.
X.
It's X. Yeah, so they'll focus on X, right? For other people, they want to meet more corporate policy, leadership, experts. They want to meet this kind of people who are in this category, put their work out there, right? Because maybe they're trying to get jobs, they're trying to amplify the work that they do on a more broader and general note, right? So they'll definitely use LinkedIn, right? You know that LinkedIn is a place where you can find anybody, any country at all, right? And you can definitely see an expert who has a decade of experience working on a particular project, and you can reach out to this person, send a cold email, and then you definitely get this person's attention or not. But then you're going to always find people that you can network with. That's LinkedIn. And
Mm,
then for
mm,
Instagram is more social, but now Instagram is has infused the business element into it, where you can actually just sell your product, yeah, market that, and reach a good number of audience. But then Instagram is very aesthetics focused. So then you know that you're not just going to show up like you'd show up on Twitter and just make a tweet and just put up an image and a hashtag, and that's that, which is what happens on
mm,
X rather. And you know that you're not just going to show up and make just one image, post, and type a long form content, which is what happens on LinkedIn. For Instagram, you have to think about the aesthetics. That's where design thinking comes in for the most part.
right.
You
Okay.
have to think about the aesthetics, think about the branding, think about this, think about that, think about, oh, okay, who are my target audience? Yes, they're here. What kind of colors? You have to think about a lot of things when it comes to Instagram. For
Mm,
TikTok, it could just be like an everyday sharing your lifestyle, sharing a particular thing that makes that gives you some sense of purpose or something. So TikTok is more or less like, I'd say it's more or less like a public diary now, right? Where you just share just to connect with people, have fun. Yeah, I think that's what TikTok is right now. But then a lot of people have leveraged this for their businesses, right? A lot of people have leveraged this for their businesses. They're able to go farther because TikTok's algorithm, I think, is way easier to navigate than Instagram. Is way easier to navigate than YouTube, right? So most people know
mm,
that, okay, if I just wake up today and I create a TikTok account, my videos could just have 500 views, 1,000 views, 2,000 views, a million views, right? Depending on the content of the video and your hooks and all of other elements that you're able to infuse into it, right? And
mm,
TikTok is consistency. And yes, now taking it to personal branding. So I believe in finding a platform that works for every individual. For some people, they're able to sell and be themselves across all platforms, right? But for some
mm,
other people, they've only been able to grow a community and an audience on X, right? And they've been doing this for a good number of time. Some people are not even on Instagram, but then they have thousands of followers on X, and some of them are not even on LinkedIn, but they are on Instagram and they have a community on Instagram, right? So
mm,
finding which platform works for you as an individual would actually help you portray your personality more. Right. So at that
mm,
point, you're able to unapologetically show up without feeling some type of way, without feeling like, okay, am I doing too much? Am I not doing too much? You're just yourself, right? So that's one thing about these different platforms. And then now for monetization, I would say that influencers, creators, digital creators, and the rest are able to monetize now, right?
mm,
Before, we didn't have this as a feature, but then now you're able to monetize just by sometimes maybe just by going live, right? You just sit down, you pick your phone, and then you go live, and then 1 hour later, some money drops into your account, and you're like, okay, after a month or after a couple of weeks, you're able to withdraw just by being yourself on social media. So I
okay.
think it's also ties into the creator economy and the opportunities that exist
Mm,
there, right? There are a lot of creators now. They're doing really great things. They're selling themselves, and social media is that platform now where you can just go from 0 to 100, right?
Mm,
Depending on how well you're able to utilize it, right?
mm.
I hope that's answered the question.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've learned so much. I'm literally planning my TikTok channel right now as we speak. So, and getting into that creator economy, as you said. So, looking forward then, what's in the pipeline for you, Gloria? And what are you excited about looking forward in terms of corporate communication?
Okay, so regarding corporate communications, one thing I'm always excited about is the impact that the opportunity of being in this space has given me to work on different projects, variety of projects, working with different organizations, some not just national organizations or Nigerian focused organizations, but some Pan African
Mm,
brands as well, and international organizations as well. So that exposure that comes from it has been really, really remarkable. And for me, one thing I know is I'm still definitely going to be here, put my best foot forward, keep doing amazing work, keep working with incredible people, keep networking, keep looking out for other opportunities to avail myself and do amazing work, right? Especially when it comes to the things I'm really passionate about, which is Africa's transformation and growth, youth inclusion, women, gender equity, and the likes. So, yeah, definitely going to keep leveraging these platforms, networking, and yeah, just putting my best foot forward. Thank you.
well, wishing you all the best and with all of
Thank
that, Gloria,
you.
and also with your ebook that you're working on. Looking forward to
Thank
reading it
you.
as well. So, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
A significant portion of my conversation with Gloria focused on challenges women face in corporate communication. She candidly shares her experiences navigating what is quite a male dominated industry and the importance of projecting oneself confidently. And she encourages women to embrace their strengths and not shy away from leadership positions, though we understand how difficult that might be at times. In addition to discussing her personal journey, Gloria talks about the role of AI in modern communication. She views AI as a valuable tool that enhances productivity and efficiency, but stresses the importance of maintaining that human touch in all she does. This episode is a must listen for aspiring writers, communication professionals, and anyone interested in gender equality and the future of corporate communication. So drop me an email at gmc at African Women in Media with your thoughts, and please do share and let me know if you'd like to be on an episode of the podcast. To find out more about African Women in Media and our work, visit our main website at africanwomeninmedia.com. In the show notes, there's a list of organizations and resources to support you if you've experienced any of the topics we've discussed today. And don't forget, subscribe and follow Her Media Diary on your favorite podcast platforms. And also, don't forget to tune into our partner radio stations from anywhere you are across Africa. Join the conversation using the hashtag Her Media Diary.
Her Media Diary is a product of African Women in Media, an NGO advocating for gender equality in the media industry. And this episode was hosted by Dr. Yemisi Akimbobola, produced and edited by Blessing Udeobasi as part of a 4-episode series on women in corporate communications. All music featured in this podcast is by Nana Kwabena. Thanks for listening and join us again next time.